Hey there. Quick question. So yesterday morning, I woke up and for some reason I just started crying. And I couldn't stop. It was one of those cries that shakes your whole body. And I laid there in bed crying for a good 5 or 6 minutes before I finally was able to get out of bed and go about my day. Now, I don't usually cry like that. Not since I was a little kid, actually. And it wasn't like I was doing anything particularly sad or upsetting. I didn't see anything upsetting. I didn't hear anything upsetting. Nothing made me upset at all, but for some reason I just started crying. And this has happened to me a few times over the years where I'll be going about my day and just start crying out of nowhere. Sometimes it's happy tears, sometimes it's sad tears. But no matter what the emotion, there are always tears that come out of nowhere and are completely involuntary. You literally cannot stop them. And I have no idea why it happens. So if any of you guys know why this might happen, please let me know. Okay, so let's find out. Is this a bug or a feature? Well, we need to look at a few different things here. First off, you say you didn't do anything upsetting. You didn't see anything, you didn't hear anything upsetting, which is weird because sometimes you can cry just from thinking about something sad or maybe even reminiscing about a past relationship or a loved one, someone who has passed away. Even just thinking about them can make you get all choked up and break down into tears. So maybe try and think back to when this happened. Was there anything that might have triggered these tears? Was it a memory? Was it a thought? Try and figure out what it was that caused you to cry, because maybe then we can get to the bottom of this. Now, I will say that sometimes our brain kind of triggers these memories or thoughts subconsciously, meaning you may not even realize that you were thinking about this until after you already started crying. So, keep thinking about it. Maybe lay down again and try and relax, and see if anything comes to mind that might explain why you burst into tears. Or it could be nothing. It could be totally random. And if that's the case, well, that still helps us narrow down the possibilities. So when did this start happening? Did this start happening recently? If so, have you experienced any other changes in your life recently? Perhaps some stress, or perhaps something very positive happened. You could be experiencing something known as emotional volatility, which is an increase in emotional sensitivity where you feel heightened levels of emotions, both good and bad. And this can be a symptom of many things, including medication, side effects. Certain medications can cause you to become more emotionally sensitive than normal, which means you might find yourself laughing a lot more, crying a lot more, being easily startled, feeling overwhelmed in social situations. So have you started taking any new medications recently? That might be worth looking into. On the flip side, perhaps this isn't a new thing. Perhaps you've been crying like this for a long time. Maybe you've always been super sensitive. In that case, it could just be a personality trait. Some people are just very sensitive and emotional. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's also nothing wrong with being able to control your emotions. So while crying uncontrollably might sound concerning, if it's something you've always done, it's probably nothing to worry about. However, if this is a new development, if you haven't been like this for most of your life, then it's probably best to take a trip to the doctor and get checked out. Now, if it's not something you've noticed before, if this is something that only happened once, I wouldn't worry too much about it. It might have just been a one-off thing. Our brains are very complex. There are millions of neurons firing off signals every second of every day. So sometimes weird things can happen. Sometimes random things can trigger random responses. It's not always gonna make sense. So, if it's only happened once, it might be nothing to worry about. But if it keeps happening, definitely get checked out by a medical professional. You said that you can't stop the tears, but have you tried? Have you tried to stop them? Because that's another important piece to the puzzle. If you can't stop them, and you really want to, if it's getting in the way of your everyday life, that's something you should absolutely talk to your doctor about. If you can't control your emotions, if you're having random bouts of uncontrollable crying or laughing, that is something that needs to be addressed. But if you can stop them, if you've tried and you can stop them, then this is something entirely different. There's a difference between uncontrollable laughter and being able to laugh, between uncontrollable crying and being able to cry. So let us say that you're rewatching a sad movie and you start crying because the movie is making you feel sad. That's different than crying because your brain physically can't stop producing tears. The first one is controllable. The second one is not, and the difference between the two is very important because the latter is a lot more serious. So if you can control your crying, if you've tried and you can't control it, then that's likely nothing to worry about. But if you can't control it, if you've tried and you just can't stop the tears, that's something you should talk to a medical professional about. Crying can also be a physical response to pain. Pain in your head, pain in your eyes, pain anywhere in your body. I know that might sound weird, but it's a real thing. Crying can be a physical response to pain. Do you feel any pain in your body? Do you feel any pain in your head? Do you feel any pressure in your head? Do you feel sick? If so, make sure you talk to a medical professional about that as well. Because it could be something simple like a sinus infection or something more serious like a brain tumor. I'm not saying you have a brain tumor, just saying it's possible. So rule out all physical ailments as well. See a doctor, get checked out, get an MRI if you have to, just to make sure everything is okay. Make sure there is no physical cause for these random bouts of crying. I know you said you don't do anything upsetting, but I need to ask anyway. Are you depressed? Depression is a lot more than feeling sad. It's a lot more than being down. Depression is a serious mental illness that can manifest itself in a variety of different ways. Crying out of nowhere could be a sign of depression. It could also be a sign of anxiety. Sometimes anxiety can manifest itself in physical symptoms as well, like a racing heartbeat, sweating, difficulty breathing, chest pains, dizziness, insomnia. These are all common physical manifestations of anxiety, so keep an eye out for these symptoms as well. And if you experience any of them, seek help. Talk to someone you trust. Talk to a medical professional. Let's get to the bottom of this. Okay, assuming there's no medical reason behind these random bouts of crying, assuming you're not depressed, assuming you're not anxious, assuming you've ruled out everything else, well, I'm afraid the answer might be nothing. Sometimes things happen, and we simply don't know why. Life is complicated. There are millions of variables that contribute to our everyday experiences. Sometimes those variables align in strange ways and weird things happen. Random acts of kindness from strangers. Random bouts of uncontrollable crying. Sometimes life just doesn't make sense, and the answer is simply nothing. But if you want to increase your understanding of crying and emotions and how they work, try learning about psychology. Take an online course, read a book, watch some videos. The more you learn about the human brain, the better you'll understand yourself.